Hello, so this is module 2A. This is a continuation from the module 1 of basic simple time signatures and how to bar them. But this module is talking more about 16th notes and how to subdivide and count those notes. So I want to start off with a quick review of the module 1, which is all the different types of notes that we count in 4/4 time, 3/4 time, 2/4 time. Whole note, basic 4 beats, right? If I put a stem on it, it becomes a half note. That's 2 beats. If I fill it all in, it becomes a quarter note, and that's 1 beat, right? If I put another one like that, that is 1/8 notes. I can also write it by itself, right, with 1 stem. If I add another bar, that will make it a 16th note. Generally, you see 4 of them. We call it 16th notes because 16 of them actually fit in an entire 4/4 bar if you're subdividing it down, and that's common time, 16 of those notes. That's what they're called, 16th notes, but they actually each get a quarter of a beat. And this is where we are at today, 16th notes. So in my example here, I want to make sure we know how to count and feel 16th notes. So as I mentioned, 4 of those are going to fit in 1 beat. And I count this with a combination of numbers and syllables. And that is 1, or whatever number it's starting in the beat, E and A. Now notice the and actually occurs where the 8th note division would be. So 2 8th notes that are fitting in here are counted 1 and, right? And that's where they actually occur. If you're having trouble feeling the units in 16th notes, think of any 4-syllable word. So instead of counting 1 E and A, you might want to count something like pepperoni, 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 pepperoni. All right, does that make sense? Same thing with 8th notes. You can pick a 2-syllable word. Pizza, 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 pepperoni, pepperoni, pizza, pizza, pie. Quarter note, 1 beat. Pie, pizza, pepperoni. But, you know, and any 2 or 4-syllable word would totally work. But this is how you properly count them with these syllables. 2, 1, E, and A. And just memorize it, just accept it. Sometimes people ask me why. I don't know, other than the and. Is where it is. Now, sometimes you have a combination of some 8th notes and some 16th notes. So you'll have something that looks like this. 8th note and then followed by 2 16th notes. So there's my 16th notes. And I would count this 1 and because that's where they line up in this. 1 and the E is silent because there's no 16th note that belongs there. Let me write this over here so you can see this just a little more clearly. Here's my 4 16th notes again. Counted 1, E, and A. So this is 1 and A. So they line up there. 1 and A, 1 and A. So the E is silent. 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E and A. But you can certainly subdivide that E out. It would just be silent. Okay, the opposite could also be true, where I would have my 2 16th notes first, followed by my 8th note. All right, and I count this 1 E and. The A would be silent. It doesn't belong, it's not existing in this particular one. So instead of being 1 E and A, it's 1 E and, 1 E and A, 1 E and A, 1 E and A. So you can kind of see where that is. The last combination of variations between some 16th notes and some 8th notes is this, where you have maybe the 16th notes on either end of this, and then the 8th note is in the middle. Okay? Weird, I know. But this counting here is 1 E, The and is actually silent in this case. 1 E, and 1 E, and This is syncopated because it feels weird. It's actually probably going to accent that E. 1 E, 1 E, 1 E. This would be the most missed rhythm out of all the rhythms I've showed you so far because it feels weird. A little trick for flutists, if you're really having problems with a rhythm like this, see if you can actually use your vibrato to subdivide it. So I might do 2 16th notes here. Ta, 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 hoo, tu, ta. That gives me just a little bit of a security with my rhythm. And then I'm able to, eventually take that vibrato out, because I don't want to always do measured vibrato, but that's definitely something that is helpful to me and some of my students. So now let's pull out the worksheet. This is meter simple 3 16th notes is what it's listed as. Let's see if I can get the whole screen in here. So we're going to begin just a couple of the beginning parts of it, and then you can write and complete it on your own. So on this one, they're asking us to do 2 things. Number 1 is put the bar lines in, like in the previous modules. And then the second one is to write in the counting. And then I'm going to add a third one to either preferably clap it with a metronome so that you can really make sure you understand it, or articulate it with tas would be another helpful thing. But, really saying the numbers, I think, would be the best thing. So 4/4 time, there's 4 beats in a measure. I'm going to start with my counting right away. And every time I get to a 4, that's where I'm going to put my bar line. I think that's the easiest way to do it. So dotted half note, of course, is 3. 1, 2, 3. I count 8th notes 4, and that would be my bar line. Okay, these are the 16th notes that we were talking about. 1, E, and A. Okay, on this one, there's got to be a number. We're on beat 2. Whoops, beat 2. Write that better. 2, and then you got to figure out where this 16th note occurs. They're missing a 16th note here, so to me it's 2, and then the E is silent. And then this would be 3 and 4, bar line. So if I'm going to count this, I'm going to, actually do this with a metronome, making sure that my steady beat is steady. Let me do that. I'm going to put a metronome on. Let's make sure we get the steady beat correct. So I will throw, never mind. Oh, no. Okay. We still have some power. So on my iPad, I'm just going to throw up the beat here. Here's my quarter note, okay? Ready? Clap. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 E and a 2 and a 3 and 4. Okay, that's the counting, and you were clapping it. If you want to do some fancy words, you can do the pies and pizzas. But you get into a little trick thing here, because what are you going to say here? I guess you can say anchovy, as long as you do it, as long as you put the weight or longer on this one. So that would be like this. Ready, go. Pie, pie, pie. Pizza, pepperoni, anchovy, pizza, pie. Some people really love words to go with that. If that is not you, forget it. Just giving you suggestions. Okay, let's go on to the one that's 3/4. That's the next one. Yes, the 3/4 meter one. So let's do the same thing. Let's count this. 1, 2, and we're on number 3. We always count 16th notes, E and A. We're in 3/4 times, so that's where my bar is going to be. Rests sometimes get a little tricky. This maybe isn't the best writing for rest, but those little symbols right there are 8th note rest. This is 1. I still have to count the rest. And 2 and 3. Bar line. Okay, so the counting here would be this. Ready, go. 1, 2, and 3, and 1, and 2, and 3. Those are just on downbeats. That actually is not that bad of a rhythm. It just looks really weird. It really does look weird. Okay, let's go on to the last one here that I did. Oh, 6/4. So I wanted to show you a little bit of the last one there. 6/4 is not that weird of a meter. It's just we don't see it that much. It's basically like 2, 3, 4 bars put together. And I think that's why we don't see it so much, is a lot of times it will be transferred into 2, 3, 4 bars. So it should feel like 2, 3, 4 bars. So let's count this one, but the bar line goes after the 6, not the 2 3s. So my counting here is 1, 2, and 3 E and 4, 5, 6. Here's my bar line. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6 E. Oops, E and A. So on this one, I generally divide this in 3s. I'll put a little accent on the 1 and the 4, kind of like I do in 6/8 time. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6 E and a bar line, right? So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an insight into how to count 16th notes and mixed between eighth notes and quarter notes. The next module will be on syncopations.